Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex or Nuznuz here, and today's video is going to be about unpopular RuneScape opinions. Now, I got this idea from the Unpopular Opinion subreddit, and I thought it would be interesting pertaining to RuneScape 3. So I went to my community tab on my YouTube channel, and I asked all of you to give me your unpopular RuneScape opinions. And we got a ton of great and controversial ones, so today I'll be reading off the best comments and talking about them and giving you my reaction. Now keep in mind, these aren't my opinions. I will be removing everyone's usernames so people can remain anonymous. This video is about discussion, so remember to please keep the comments civil as we're all friends here. So alright guys, let's get into these unpopular RuneScape opinions. So the first unpopular opinion someone posted was this. They said, in my opinion, RuneScape doesn't have a whole lot of engaging things to do if you aren't killing high-level bosses. Skilling is boring, quests are a one-time thing, and a lot of the repeatable things you can do just aren't as engaging as killing high-level bosses. For me, I tend to kind of agree, and I'm going to use old school RuneScape as a comparison. On RuneScape 3, I'm already max, which is, part of the problem, so I tend to basically just boss. Of course, I can go for things like 120s, but it just doesn't feel worth it to me or give me much sense of achievement. Minigames are mostly dead in RuneScape 3, and PvP is also pretty much dead. On old school RuneScape, while I do enjoy RuneScape 3 more, I do find myself doing more extracurricular activities, if you will, on old school than RuneScape 3. So if I'm bored of bossing on old school, I'll go play the last man standing minigame. Maybe I'll go into the wilderness and PK, maybe I'll try out the combat achievements. But on RuneScape 3, for me, it's basically bossing for nothing. That's not to say I don't like skilling. I was super into archaeology when it was released, but recently as a max player, I'm only really finding myself enjoying bossing, but it's still enough to make me play the game a ton, seeing as there's a lot of bossing focused updates. So for the next unpopular opinion, this player said there are way too many switches and abilities for high-level PvM. Simple macros could solve the endless switching like the ones in World of Warcraft. So this is another opinion that I sort of agree with, and I wouldn't say is all that unpopular. Switchscape has always been something that a lot of players haven't liked, but I also totally agree if they added a way to switch weapons together. For instance, being able to combine like 3 items together to switch on one keybind, like you could switch both your dual wield weapons and add a ring with one keybind. That would make the game and bossing and switching in general much more enjoyable, seeing as we do have so many switches. The next unpopular opinion, this player said death costs do not need reworked, just get good. The amount of money you make PvMing will always far outweigh the amount you lose from dying. Now this right here is a loaded opinion, but by the amount of likes it has, it seems like some people agree with him. For me, I really see it both ways. I don't think death costs should just be gone. I really don't. I think there should be a punishment for death. However, the current death cost system just absolutely is not good. For instance, something like tier 92 armor raises the death cost by like 7 mil when compared to like tier 90 armor, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's just a very poorly optimized system. So I can see both sides of this, not wanting death to just be, nothing, but also not wanting death to be so cost you so much. I think there should be some middle ground for everyone to make death costs less impactful, but have them still exist. So back to death costs, the next player said it, free death week ruins the release of new bosses and there is no sense of danger anymore. For this one, I kind of disagree, but again, I can see your point. I actually love the no death cost week for learning new bosses. It made it so I could, actually enjoy the content rather than worrying about how much money I'm losing. I know there's practice mode, but I feel like the death cost system again is the thing that's flawed in general. If deaths were reasonable in the first place and there was a good system in place for death costs, we wouldn't need free death week for new bosses. It feels like free death week is a way that Jagex is just putting a band-aid on the problem instead of actually fixing it. So the next opinion, a player said Group Iron Man would be amazing for RuneScape 3 too. And for me, this opinion was not unpopular at all. I'm actually somebody who has been wanting to play Group Iron Man on RuneScape 3 for 3+ years. I remember they talked about adding it years ago, and I have been prowling Reddit for updates for over 3 years. At one point they shelved the update, at another point they said they were waiting on Old School to come out with their Group Iron Man, and I think it's safe to say I'm not sure if we will ever get Group Iron Man in RuneScape 3, but I think it would be a blast if it was ever introduced. So the next opinion, the player said, people like to say that Treasure Hunter is shoved down your throat, but I disagree. I recently made a fresh account to see, and it's literally just in the lobby after you use your keys, and there's rarely discount promos on keys. I don't see it as much of an issue. If you don't like it, then don't use it. It's fairly easy to ignore. For me, again, I sort of see both sides, but I kind of disagree. How I see is MTX in general isn't horrible like people tend to make it out to be, but the way that Jagex sometimes presents it is pretty bad. For instance, they focus so much on MTX without fixing the issues that people actually want. I have a whole video focused on what I would want to see for Jagex regarding MTX to make it better and more interesting, like new cosmetics and stuff, and I'll link that in the description in case anyone wants to hear my full thoughts. So the next comment is, I hate efficiency-scape. I hate that this is where the MMO and so many others have gone. I just want to chill with people, but it's so hard to do. How can I learn a boss if everyone is so deep into the toxic, efficiency-only culture? Now this, I understand a little bit. There are people that are very toxic when it comes to PvM regarding teams, and that's kind of how it is in most games. There's always going to be some sort of toxicity, but also there's a lot of people who just want to learn just like you. And I honestly think it's okay on both sides. It's fine to want to go with people to a boss that know what they're doing and are efficient. That's fine. Sometimes I want to go with people that really know what they're doing and don't really want to go with people learning the boss. It's fine, but be respectful about it. It's also okay to want to do bosses casually and not focus on getting the best times. Sometimes I like to just chill rather than focusing on, trying to be super efficient. And the best way to go about this is just to find friends, clans, or people that share the similar values and play styles as you, and be nice to each other, guys. That's the main point here. But in terms of like training methods and stuff like that, I get that as well. Like on old school RuneScape, there's a lot of methods that involve like 4 ticking, 3 ticking, I'm not sure what it even is, tick manipulation, and I never really wanted to do that. It's very efficient and you get a ton of XP, but for me, I would rather AFK, and that's okay. I think the efficiency culture kind of came into RuneScape as we all grew up. So earlier in the RuneScape days, a lot of us started playing RuneScape when we were like 10, 12 years old. And that meant that a lot of us weren't doing stuff that was super efficient. We were kids, we really weren't. And as everyone kind of grew up together as a RuneScape community, we started to focus more on efficiency and, trying to be better at the game. And that kind of brought this culture. Now, I think either way is okay. If you play on mobile, AFK, you basically do everything AFK, you don't do the efficient method for anything, that's fine if that's how you want to play. If you're somebody that's super efficient and loves to, use the best method and, be super click intensive, then that's fine too. It's all about the way you go about it. If it's your playstyle, it's your playstyle. Don't try to force that playstyle on anyone else. And finally, this player said, unpopular opinion, Jagex is doing a great job and the players can't be pleased. Don't want switchscape, but hate how the tier 95 melee spec is made where you can't switch weapons. This I kind of agree with a little bit. I think Jagex gets a ton of hate, and the developers and everyone that is part of, RuneScape making this game how it is today, a lot of them have amazing intentions. They want to make the game as great as they can, but there's also a corporate side of Jagex that these mods really don't have a lot of control over. They make the game, the graphic designer, some of the programmers don't have the say in certain things that go on. That's just how it is in the business world. It's about the bottom line in a lot of ways, but I think RuneScape has done a good job at, or the RuneScape community has done a good job at making our voices heard for potential issues, but at the same time, we can't throw all this hate at the people that are, creating this game and putting out updates and stuff like that, because in reality, those aren't the people that pull the strings. Those aren't the people that are, putting out these things that you guys don't like certain MTX. So yeah, what do you guys think about all these opinions? Do you have any unpopular RuneScape opinions? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to maybe make a part 2 of this video. Like I said, these are not my opinions. I let you know what I thought about these certain things, but these are all people in my community tab that wanted to let their opinions be known. So yeah, let me know, guys, and make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this different style of video, and make sure to subscribe if you want to see a part 2.